And to take a look at the papers, today we're joined by the anthropologist Mariana Hota and the former editor of the Daily Star, Dawn Neeson. Ladies, good to see you again. Dawn, we're starting with you, and it's the front of the Daily Express, your first choice. Ukrainian spies believe that there is potentially a terror attack on Chernobyl.
Terrifying. And let's be honest, none of the front pages are exactly full of joy and optimism this morning, are they? This is Putin's plot to blackmail the world, as you can see there. Russia is evidently stockpiling corpses of dead Ukrainian soldiers to plant as evidence of a false flag operation at Chernobyl. This is what Ukrainian officials are claiming. Kyiv's military intelligence are saying that Vladimir Putin planned to release radioactive waste in what would amount to a terrorist attack, basically, and then blame the Ukraine for doing so. The theory is that then the West will be less sympathetic to what the Ukrainians are doing and not send so much help to them. Now, but it's denied on both sides, obviously. I mean, it's counterclaim and claim, and obviously there's an awful lot of propaganda going on. But where we are in Chernobyl, obviously everyone remembers from 1986 the horrors of what happened there. There is no one allowed in now from the Ukrainian side, supposedly, to maintain the nuclear reactors properly. The Russians are supposedly looking after it, but the Ukrainians that have been held captive there are saying, we have only enough diesel left to keep the containment of the nuclear reactor safe for 48 hours. And you know what, Neil, the whole thing with this, I mean, I'm of an age where I can remember sort of like, growing up with the nuclear threat hanging over us and being told at school that don't worry, if the nuclear sirens went off, we'd have time to get home to be with our parents, and then to prop a door up against a wall so you were safe from nuclear attack. And I think the reason this war is playing so horrifically with all of us in Europe is the nuclear threat that hangs over it. I mean, as Marianne said earlier on, I mean, this is where we used to go on holiday. This was 2.5 flight away from the UK. And the whole nuclear threat in Europe is what we are terrified now of. And this is what Putin and the Kremlin are relying on, that we are so terrified of this happening that we are going to literally let him carry on invading the Ukraine without doing anything to us.
Maria, my list is slightly dodgy, but you've got a story in the FT. I just can't work out which one it is, G7 or Jets.
Well, we can talk about the G7. So the G7 have agreed to break off trade ties with Russia. So Russia won't be able to, I mean, not that they in the past 3 weeks have been being able to complete business as usual, but this really cements it. And it goes hand in hand with the announcement from the EU leaders as well, with this Versailles Declaration saying that they're going to rearm and also work to become sovereign, so independent as a bloc for food security and military. And so and energy as well, of course, because I think one of the other things that this conflict has really writ clear in our minds is how interconnected and how interdependent we are, and how much as we'd love to turn off the taps and stop the ships bringing Russian liquid petroleum gas and oil and those pipelines that crisscross the European sort of landmass, it's incredibly hard to, and you can't do it overnight. And it means that we're still paying Russia money, even though we condemn what they're doing. So, of course, there are other levers, all the trade sanctions being implemented, and they will have a punishing impact on Russian people, of course. The big question is, how much does Putin care about how much his own people are suffering? Or will he say, you take it on the chin because I'm pursuing this imperialistic strategy to expand Great Mother Russia? And I think the other thing we shouldn't forget is that there is pro-Putin support. It's not, there are many people who are protesting the war in Russia, but, there are pro-Putin rallies that are being held in Belarus, in Serbia. It's not as simple as a David and Goliath, and that everybody is condemning Russia. Of course, China have remained very silent on this recently.
Yeah, they have indeed. Dawn, one thing that I think will almost necessarily follow is the story in the front of the Telegraph, that there will be a boost to defence spending. Whether or not it goes quite as far as Jeremy Hunt, the former Foreign Secretary, is calling to increase to the same level as the US, I'm presuming that's in percentage of GDP rather than in real terms.
Yes, it is, obviously. Evidently, in the UK, we spend 2.3% of our GDP, which is the gross domestic product, on defence, whilst America spends 3.5%. And this is an exclusive interview the Telegraph have with Jeremy Hunt, as you pointed out, the former Foreign Secretary, who is saying that we now, given this situation, which, let's be honest, we could have seen coming, couldn't we? I mean, it's not suddenly, oh my God, really, Putin's doing this. He's now suggesting that we do need to concentrate on defence spending more. I mean, the interesting thing, if you look back at the figures of spending in this country now, I mean, sort of like health spending is now £149.8 billion. And that has been increasing literally from 1990 up until now every single year. Meanwhile, defence has actually gone down every single year. We are now spending £41.2 billion on defence, which sounds an awful lot, but in the great scheme of things, it absolutely isn't. And it's like, you know, Trump was very, very vocal when he was president about NATO's defence spending and very critical of it. And Jeremy Hunt is actually saying that, you know, OK, he might have been putting it, you know, Trump might have been putting it in a very obvious way, but he had a point. And really, we do need now in this country, given how unstable Europe is, to actually maybe consider spending more on defence. It was very interesting when the Ukrainian president was addressing the House of Commons, that standing ovation, everyone applauding, you know, we're going to do our bit to help you. Some of the hypocrisy going on there, given the vast majority of our MPs have actually voted against increasing defence spending.
John, we're going to have to leave it there.
It's like,
I'm so sorry, we're going to have to leave it there. Marianne, do bring back your story for the next hour of Russia accusing the US of plotting to use birds to spread pathogens. Marianne, Don, we'll see you shortly. But after the break, we, of course, have the very latest as the Russian forces continue that slow advance on Kiev.